You know what's worse than failure? It's living a life where people walk all over you, where someone can talk down to you, dismiss you, treat you as if you're invisible, and you just stand there pretending it doesn't bother you. And deep down, it burns. It stings. But here's the truth. You didn't lose their respect in that moment. You lost it long before, when you allowed the very first act of disrespect to go unchecked. Let me ask you this. Why do some people command respect the second they enter a room, while others struggle to even have their words taken seriously? Why is it that one person's presence changes the entire atmosphere while another's gets ignored? It's not luck. It's not popularity. It's not about being loud, intimidating, or trying to prove yourself. It's about something far deeper, something within you. Because here's the reality, respect is not given freely. Respect is earned, it's built, and most importantly, it's enforced. And if you don't know how to enforce it, you'll spend your life wondering why people treat you the way they do. If you've ever been disrespected, if you've ever been overlooked, if you've ever been treated like you don't matter, listen carefully. There are things you can start doing today that will make sure no one, and I mean no one, will ever disrespect you again. Every single one of us sends out a message without even opening our mouths. The way you carry yourself, the way you sit, the way you walk into a room, it all communicates something. Before you ever speak, people are already making a decision about you. They're deciding how much to value you, how seriously to take you, and yes, how much respect to give you. And here's the part most people don't want to face. If you haven't defined your own worth, they will do it for you. And trust me, the world doesn't usually give out generous valuation. It will always place you lower than you deserve, unless you set the standard yourself. Think about this. How many times in your life have you allowed someone to interrupt you and you didn't say anything? How many times has someone brushed off your opinion and you laughed it off as if it didn't matter? How many times have you lowered your voice, softened your stance, shrunk yourself because you didn't want to seem difficult or too much? Every single time you did that, you taught people something about your worth. You taught them it's negotiable, that it's adjustable, that it's okay for them to set the tone for how they treat you. And once they learn that, it only gets worse. People respect clarity. They respect certainty. They respect when you know who you are and what you will and will not allow. The problem is, most people never take the time to actually define those boundaries for themselves. They don't stop and say, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, this is how I expect to be treated. They leave it open, hoping others will just know. But let me tell you something. No one is going to just know. Human beings will always push. They will always test. They will always see how far they can go. Not because they're evil, but because it's in our nature. And if you don't push back, if you don't draw the line, the testing never ends. Defining your worth starts inside of you. It's not about puffing up your chest, or throwing around arrogance, or trying to dominate people. It's about quietly, deeply, and unshakably knowing what you're made of. When you carry that knowledge within yourself, people sense it. They see it in the way you sit up straight instead of hunching over. They hear it in the way your voice doesn't shake when you speak. They notice it in the way you don't rush to fill silences or over-explain yourself. Confidence isn't loud, it's steady. And when you're steady, you project worth. Now here's where people make a mistake. They think worth is about what they own, what title they carry, how much money they make, how attractive they are. None of that is true worth. Because the second those things are taken away, what's left? Real worth is not circumstantial. It's not dependent on what you have. It's dependent on who you are when everything else is stripped away. Your integrity, your discipline, your self-respect. Those things cannot be bought, and they cannot be faked. That is the foundation of true worth. Let me give you an example. Imagine you walk into a negotiation. Two people are at the table. One is desperate to close the deal, to be liked, to not cause friction. The other is calm, deliberate, and willing to walk away if it doesn't serve them. Who do you think gets more respect? Who do you think has more power? It's the one who knows their worth so clearly that they don't need the deal to validate them. The same is true in every area of your life. Your relationships, your friendships, your workplace. The person who doesn't need to beg for respect is always the one who gets it. And here's the key. You cannot fake this. People can sense insecurity a mile away. They can smell desperation. If you're constantly trying to prove yourself, constantly trying to be liked, constantly trying to get people to approve of you, they'll know. And once they know, they'll treat you like someone who doesn't know their own value. That's why you have to build this from the inside out. You have to sit with yourself and ask, who am I? What do I stand for? What will I never tolerate? And when you answer those questions, you live by them every single day. When someone interrupts you, you don't shrink, you pause, you wait, and you continue. When someone disrespects you, you don't laugh it off, you calmly, firmly let them know where the line is. When someone tries to diminish your worth, you don't argue or plead, you simply withdraw your presence. Because your time and energy are too valuable to be wasted on anyone who doesn't see it. That's how you train the world to treat you, by showing them through your actions that you already know who you are. Defining your worth is not about fighting. It's not about demanding. It's about embodying. When you embody worth, you don't need to shout it. People feel it. They sense it. And the beautiful thing is, once you've defined it for yourself, the right people will rise to meet it and the wrong people will fall away. And that's exactly how it should be. Because at the end of the day, you cannot force anyone to respect you. But you can refuse to be in spaces where respect is absent. You can refuse to lower yourself to environments that don't align with your worth. And that choice, that discipline, that self-respect is what makes people take you seriously. Not sometimes, not occasionally, every single time. So the question is, are you willing to finally set your own standard? Are you willing to stop waiting for other people to give you respect and instead decide right now that your worth is non-negotiable? Because the moment you do that, the moment you define it before the world does, you'll notice something. People will treat you differently. Not because they've changed, but because you have. There's a reason the most powerful people in the room are often the quietest. They don't need to prove anything. They don't need to rush to defend themselves. They don't need to speak just to be heard. They understand that silence and composure are weapons. Ones that demand more respect than shouting, arguing, or trying to dominate ever could. And if you want to stop people from disrespecting you, you must master these two things. The ability to stay silent when others expect you to explode, and the ability to remain composed when others want you to fall apart. Think about the last time someone pushed your buttons. Maybe they insulted you. Maybe they tried to make you feel small in front of others. Maybe they were baiting you, hoping you'd lose your cool. And what did you do? Did you fire back instantly? Did you defend yourself? Did you raise your voice trying to prove your point? If you did, congratulations, you gave them exactly what they wanted. Disrespect thrives on reaction. It feeds off your need to prove yourself. The moment you take the bait, you've already lost power, because you've allowed them to dictate your behavior. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine someone throws an insult your way, and you don't flinch. You don't defend. You don't fight. You don't even acknowledge it with emotion. Instead, you pause. You breathe. You look them in the eye, calm and steady, and let that silence hang in the air. Do you realize how unsettling that is for the other person? Do you realize how much control that projects? Because silence tells them one thing. You're not on their level. You're not playing their game. And nothing unnerves a person more than realizing they cannot move you. Silence is not weakness. It's strength under control. Anybody can scream. Anybody can lose their temper. That's easy. But to remain calm under provocation, that's rare. That's what makes people stop and think twice about how they approach you. Because deep down, people know. If you can't be rattled, you can't be controlled. Composure works the same way. Life will throw challenges at you, people testing your boundaries, disrespecting you, undermining you. But when you lose composure, you lose credibility. Think about leaders you admire. The ones who inspire trust, who command respect. Are they the ones who panic? Are they the ones who lash out? Or are they the ones who remain collected? No matter the storm, people follow composure. They respect it because it's rare. And when you embody it, you automatically separate yourself from those who let their emotions run wild. Here's something you need to understand. Most people don't even disrespect you intentionally. They test you because they want to see what you're made of. They want to know if you're solid or if you'll crack under pressure. It's human nature. And the moment you show cracks, losing your temper, over-explaining, begging for approval, you've already told them you're not in control. But if you remain composed, if you use silence as your ally, the test ends quickly. They back off because they see the futility in trying to shake someone who refuses to be shaken. Let me give you an example. Picture a heated argument in the workplace. One person is raising their voice, throwing accusations, desperate to be heard. The other sits calmly, listens, nods, and when it's their turn to speak, they speak slowly, clearly, with measured words. Who do you think the room respects more? It's not the loud one. It's never the loud one. Respect goes to the person who doesn't waste energy on noise, but instead delivers clarity. The same applies in your personal life. Someone insults you at a party, maybe even in front of others. The insecure response is to fight back instantly, to prove you're not weak, but the powerful response, the response that commands true respect, is to remain calm. Maybe even smile, and then carry on as though their words have no weight. Why? Because when you show that disrespect doesn't penetrate you, you communicate one thing: their opinion of you is irrelevant. And the moment someone realizes they don't have control over your emotions, they lose interest in trying to disrespect you. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying you should tolerate disrespect silently and let it slide. No. I'm saying that when you respond, it should never come from anger. It should never come from insecurity. It should never come from a need to defend. It should come from composure. Maybe you respond with a calm statement: "Don't speak to me like that." Maybe you set a boundary and walk away. Maybe you simply refuse to give them your attention. But whatever you do it with full control. That's how you enforce respect. Here's the truth. People expect chaos. They expect drama. They expect you to get emotional when provoked. That's why composure is so powerful. Because it's unexpected. It disarms people. It forces them to see you differently. And once they see you as someone who doesn't get shaken, they think twice before ever disrespecting you again. Silence and composure are not passive. They are active strategies. They are you saying, "I'm in control here. I set the tone. I decide what gets my energy." And that's what makes people respect you. Not fear, respect. Because fear fades, but respect lasts when it's built on true strength. So the next time someone disrespects you, I want you to remember this. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to fight for your place. You don't have to waste energy on noise. All you have to do is master the pause, master the silence, master the calm. Because when you do, you'll realize something powerful. No one can disrespect a person who refuses to be moved. Every single day, whether you realize it or not, you are training people how to treat you. Every time you respond, every time you let something slide, every time you set or fail to set a boundary, you are sending a message about what you will accept. And people listen, they learn, they adapt. So if you're frustrated by how others are treating you, I want you to understand something hard but true. You taught them to treat you that way. Let's be real. Disrespect doesn't just happen out of nowhere. It builds. It starts small. A joke at your expense. A dismissive comment, someone cutting you off mid-sentence, and you think it's not a big deal, I'll let it go. But here's the thing, every time you let it go, you reinforce the idea that it's acceptable. You think you're avoiding conflict, but in reality, you're inviting more of it. Because people don't stop when you stay silent. They continue, they push further, they test the limits, and before you know it, that small seed of disrespect has grown into a pattern. You see, people don't just observe your words, they observe your reactions. If someone interrupts you and you just smile awkwardly and go quiet, you've told them it's okay. If someone makes a cutting remark and you laugh nervously to keep the peace, you've told them it's okay. If someone keeps showing up late and you're always patient, always accommodating, you've told them it's okay. Without even realizing it, you've trained them. You didn't use words, but you used behavior, and behavior teaches louder than anything else. Now here's the empowering part. If you trained people once, you can retrain them. You can teach them that you're not the same person anymore. That the old rules don't apply. But it requires consistency. You can't say, "Don't talk to me like that" once and then go back to tolerating the same disrespect. You can't draw a line and then erase it the moment someone crosses it. Boundaries mean nothing unless they are enforced. And that's where most people fail, not in setting boundaries, but in keeping them. Think about it like this. If you had a dog, and every time it jumped on the couch, you said no, but then sometimes you gave in and let it stay, what would happen? The dog would keep testing you. It wouldn't know what the rule really was. People are the same. If your boundaries are inconsistent, no one will take them seriously. But when your actions are clear, consistent, and firm, people learn quickly. This person cannot be pushed. Let me give you a simple but powerful example. Imagine you're in a meeting at work. Someone interrupts you mid-sentence. Instead of stopping, instead of shrinking back, you pause and then you continue speaking, calmly, firmly, without raising your voice. You don't let them derail you. What did you just do? You taught everyone in that room that your voice doesn't get silenced. You trained them to wait their turn. And the next time, they'll think twice before cutting you off. That's how subtle training works. Or think about a relationship. Maybe your partner speaks to you harshly in front of others. If you ignore it, if you pretend it's fine, guess what? You've trained them that it's acceptable. But if you calmly say, "Don't talk to me like that," and you hold firm, you've taught them there's a line that cannot be crossed. Will it be uncomfortable? Yes. But growth always is, and in the long run, you'll gain something far more valuable than temporary peace. You'll gain respect. The truth is, people respect what you respect. If you respect yourself, they will mirror it. If you disrespect yourself by tolerating what you know you shouldn't, they'll mirror that too. So the training always starts with you. Do you value your time enough not to let others waste it? Do you value your voice enough not to let others silence it? Do you value your dignity enough not to laugh off disrespect? Because whatever you demonstrate to yourself is what the world will follow. Here's where it gets tough. Retraining people often means losing people. Because when you raise your standards, not everyone will rise with you. Some will resist. Some will get angry. Some will say you've changed. And they're right. You have. And that's a good thing. Because the ones who truly belong in your life will adapt. They'll adjust. They'll respect the new standard. The ones who don't, they'll fall away. And that's not a loss, that's a win. Because it's better to walk alone with respect than surrounded by people who demean you. So I want you to remember this. You are always teaching people how to treat you. With every action, with every silence, with every boundary, you're giving a lesson. The question is, what are you teaching? That you'll accept whatever comes your way, or that you demand respect without saying a word. Because the moment you take responsibility for the training, everything changes. You stop being a victim of other people's behavior, and you start being the architect of it. And when people know you don't bend, when they know you don't compromise on how you should be treated, when they see you enforce your worth with calm and consistency, they will fall in line, not out of fear, but out of respect. And that's when you'll notice you don't need to fight for respect. You don't need to beg for it. You don't need to demand it. You simply live it. You show it. And the world learns, one interaction at a time, exactly how to treat you. Confidence is one of the most misunderstood qualities in the world. People think it's about being loud, about showing off, about convincing everyone you're the smartest or strongest in the room. But that's not confidence, that's insecurity dressed up in arrogance. Real confidence doesn't come from how many compliments you get, or how many people validate you. Real confidence comes from discipline. It comes from knowing you can trust yourself to do what you said you would do. Even when it's hard, even when no one is watching. That's the kind of confidence that no one can take away from you. Ask yourself this, when was the last time you made a promise to yourself and actually kept it? Not a promise to someone else, to yourself. Did you wake up when you said you would? Did you follow through On the workout you swore you'd complete? Did you say no to the thing you knew wasn't good for you? Or did you give yourself an excuse, a pass, a way out? Because every time you break your own word, your confidence shrinks. It doesn't matter how much you post online, how many motivational quotes you read, or how many people tell you you're amazing. If you don't trust yourself, you can't have confidence. Discipline is the bridge. Discipline is the proof. Discipline is you showing yourself that you are dependable. And that's where unshakable confidence is born. Because here's the truth. People can sense it. They can tell when someone is disciplined, when someone carries themselves with the quiet strength of a person who knows they've done the work. That's why disciplined people don't need to yell, don't need to brag, don't need to force respect. It's written all over them. It's in their posture, their tone, the way they look you in the eye. They radiate respect because they respect themselves enough to live with standard. Let's make it practical. Imagine two people walk into a room. One has spent years breaking promises to themselves, skipping workouts, making excuses, doing the bare minimum. The other has spent years honoring their own word, showing up, putting in the effort, doing the hard things, even when no one was looking. Who do you think carries more confidence? Who do you think commands more respect? It's obvious. The second person doesn't need to prove anything. Their discipline has built an internal foundation that cannot be shaken. And here's what makes discipline so powerful. It compounds. Every small act of discipline stacks on the last, building a structure inside of you that gets stronger and stronger over time. At first it feels insignificant. Waking up when you said you would, keeping your space clean, finishing the project on time. But each of those small wins adds another brick to your foundation. And eventually you've built something unbreakable. You've built confidence that can't be faked because it's rooted in real evidence. You've proven to yourself over and over that you can be trusted. People often ask, how do I make others respect me? The answer is simple. Start respecting yourself. Respect your body enough to take care of it. Respect your time enough not to waste it. Respect your goals enough to stay consistent. Because when you do, people notice. They see the discipline in the way you show up, in the way you carry yourself, in the way you don't crumble under pressure. And that's what earns respect, not just from others, but from yourself. Now, let me be clear. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's not about never failing. You will slip, you will stumble, you will make mistakes. But discipline means you don't quit. It means you don't let failure define you. It means you get back up, you recalibrate, and you keep moving forward. That resilience, that relentless commitment is what builds real confidence. Because every time you get back up, you teach yourself something powerful. I can handle this. I can trust myself to keep going. And the more times you repeat that, the more unshakable your confidence becomes. Think about the people you respect most in your own life. I guarantee you it's not because they're perfect. It's because they're consistent. It's because they do what they say they'll do. It's because they live by a standard that doesn't waver, depending on how they feel. That's the kind of confidence discipline builds. Steady, consistent, unshakable. And that's the kind of confidence that stops people from ever disrespecting you. Because here's the truth. People don't respect talk. They respect evidence. You can tell the world you're confident, but if your actions don't back it up, they won't believe you. You can demand respect all day long, but if you don't respect yourself through your own discipline, no one else will either. Discipline is the evidence. Discipline is the proof that makes people say, this person is the real deal. And let me add this. When you're disciplined, you don't need approval. You don't need to seek validation. You don't need to beg for attention. Because you already know who you are. You already know what you've built. You already know what you stand for. And that inner certainty, born from discipline, is what makes you untouchable. So if you want to build unshakable confidence, stop chasing shortcuts. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop hoping someone else will hand you respect. Start with discipline. Start with the small, daily commitments that no one else sees but you. Because when you master those, you won't need to convince anyone of your worth. It will radiate from you effortlessly. And that's when you'll notice something incredible. People stop testing you. They stop pushing you. They stop disrespecting you. Not because you demanded it, but because you became a person who carries themselves with such discipline, such self-respect, that disrespect simply has no place in your presence. One of the greatest traps you can fall into, the trap that guarantees you'll be disrespected again and again, is needing approval from other people. As long as your value depends on what someone else thinks of you, you'll always be at their mercy. They'll control you without even trying. Because deep down you'll always be asking, do you like me? Do you accept me? Do you think I'm good enough? And the answer will never be enough to satisfy you. That hunger for approval is a weakness, and people sense it. They exploit it. They test it. They lose respect for it. Think about it. How many times have you stayed silent when you wanted to speak, just because you were afraid someone wouldn't agree with you? How many times have you bent over backward for someone? Not because it was the right thing to do, but because you were afraid of disappointing them. How many times have you accepted disrespect, just so you wouldn't be difficult? That is approval seeking. And the irony is, the more you try to please everyone, the less anyone respects you. People respect those who don't need their approval. They respect those who live by their own compass, who make decisions based on principle, not popularity. Approval seekers try to fit in. Leaders stand apart. Approval seekers avoid conflict. Leaders face it head on. Approval seekers change themselves to be accepted. Leaders stay who they are, no matter who's in the room. And when you live like that, when you stop chasing validation, something powerful happens. Respect starts chasing you. Now, don't get me wrong. Wanting to be liked is human. We're wired to seek belonging, to be part of a tribe. But when that natural desire turns into dependency, when your sense of worth rises and falls with other people's opinions, you're in danger. Because here's the truth. People's opinions are inconsistent. They change with moods, with circumstances, with convenience. If you let them dictate your value, you'll be up one day and crushed the next. You'll be living on a roller coaster, and you'll never be free. Detaching from approval doesn't mean you become cold or arrogant. It doesn't mean you don't care about people. It means you care about truth more than popularity. It means you value respect more than being liked. It means you understand that not everyone will clap for you, not everyone will accept you, and that's okay. In fact, it's necessary, because if everyone approves of you, it means you've never taken a real stand. You've never drawn a real line. You've never lived fully in your truth. Here's the paradox. The moment you stop needing approval is the moment you actually gain it. Because people can tell when you're not desperate for their acceptance. They can tell when you're comfortable in your own skin, when you're secure in your own choices. And that comfort, that security, it attracts respect. The people who matter will admire you, and the people who don't will drift away. Either way, you win. So how do you detach from approval? You start by knowing your values. When you're clear on what you believe in, you don't need others to validate it. You live it, you embody it, you protect it. Approval seekers are like leaves blowing in the wind. They change direction with every gust of opinion. But a person with strong values is like a rooted tree. Storms come, winds howl, but they don't move. And that unshakable presence is what demands respect. Next, you practice saying no. Because let's be honest, most approval seeking comes from being unable to say that one simple word. You agree to things you don't want. You stay in situations that don't serve you. You put everyone else before yourself, hoping it will buy their acceptance. But all it buys is disrespect. Saying no is one of the strongest signals of self-respect you can send. It's not selfish, it's necessary. Because every no to what disrespects you is a yes to your own worth. And finally, you learn to walk away. This is where true strength lies. Anyone can stay in toxic relationships, in disrespectful environments, in situations where they're undervalued, because it's easier to stay and keep hoping for approval than to walk away and stand alone. But the person who can leave without begging, without explaining, without chasing, that's the person people never disrespect. Because walking away says, I don't need you to approve of me. I don't need you to validate me. I already know my value. Understand this. Approval is temporary, but respect is lasting. Approval is given when you make someone feel good in the moment. Respect is earned when you live with integrity, when you hold yourself to a standard, when you refuse to compromise your worth. One fades quickly, the other endures. So the choice is simple. Chase approval and lose respect, or detach from approval and gain both peace and power. The next time you feel that pull, that urge to make everyone like you, to smooth over conflict, to please at the expense of your dignity, pause and ask yourself, what am I teaching this person about me right now? Am I showing them that I'm desperate for their acceptance? Or am I showing them that my worth is not up for negotiation? Because the answer to that question will decide whether they respect you or not. When you let go of approval, you stop being controlled, you stop being manipulated, you stop being disrespected, because you've made it clear that your value doesn't depend on anyone's applause. And that right there is freedom. Freedom to live on your own terms. Freedom to walk tall in any room. Freedom to be untouchable, to disrespect. So I'll leave you with this. You don't need approval to be worthy. You don't need applause to be valuable. You don't need validation to be respected. All you need is the courage to stand in who you are, unapologetically, consistently, relentlessly. Because when you do that, when you finally detach from needing approval, you'll realize something powerful. No one will ever disrespect you again. We've talked about defining your worth before the world does. We've talked about mastering silence and composure, about training people how to treat you, about building confidence through discipline, and about detaching from approval. Each of these isn't just a skill. It's a shield. It's armor. It's the foundation of a life where respect isn't begged for. It's commanded. Because here's the truth. People will only treat you the way you allow them to. If you tolerate disrespect, you'll receive it. If you compromise your standards, they'll push your boundary. But when you walk with dignity, when you live with discipline, when you detach from their opinions and stand firmly in your own, you become untouchable. You stop chasing validation and start radiating authority. Respect isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It isn't about power plays or intimidation. It's about knowing exactly who you are and refusing to negotiate that truth for anyone. And when you live that way, when your worth is self-defined, when your composure is unshakable, when your discipline is evident, and when you're free from needing approval, you'll notice something. People stop testing you. They stop doubting you. They start respecting you. So if there's one message you take away from today, let it be this. Never hand the power of your worth to someone else. Never beg for respect. Command it. Never wait for the world to recognize your value. Show them through how you carry yourself every single day. And when you do, you'll realize something extraordinary. You don't just earn respect. You earn freedom. Freedom from other people's control. Freedom from doubt. Freedom from disrespect. And that freedom, it changes everything.